This episode of TechnoBuffalo is brought to you by Domain.com.
How's it going, guys? Mark Bursteiner here with TechnoBuffalo, and this is our review of the HTC One A9. I thought we'd do this a little bit differently.
Because we like to do things a
Yeah.
little differently.
Oh, by the way, John's here. John
Hi, guys.
Rettinger of TechnoBuffalo as well. So, first off, I know you didn't use this device. I did for about 4 days. We didn't get it working on LTE in the US because this is an international model, but I did use it like crazy in the office and at home on and off of our Wi-Fi. It's an interesting device.
It is, would you say polarizing is the right way to describe
I think polarizing is absolutely the right way to describe this thing. I haven't felt so conflicted inside me about a device for a while.
So it's like the eating meat of phones?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, tastes delicious, but I realize it's bad for the environment and a bunch of other things. So, speaking of tastes delicious, it runs Marshmallow. It's the first non-Nexus device to do so.
And they got that out to market very fast.
Super fast.
I mean, it was, what, a week after the Nexus devices hit?
Yes. And they even went so far as to make a commitment that 15 days after Nexus devices, this is going to get the most recent software.
So outside of the two Nexus phones, this is going to get the latest software before anything else.
Which is cool. There's some similarities to some other devices in terms of build.
It's a familiar looking design.
It's a very familiar looking, feeling design. But the phone itself isn't bad. Like, that's not where I have major issues with it.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff that I've been looking at lately has been like the more budget, affordable stuff. And when I was looking at the price point for this at $400, I thought, cool, I can compare it to those.
The original price point.
The original
$400.
price point. And that's kind of one of the cruxes of the issue, is that we're looking at a device that costs $500 when, you know what else costs $500?
Yeah, so the price was going up $100
In a month.
Yeah.
Right, so it's basically a little sale that they've got going on for launch. The fingerprint reader works great. It runs Marshmallow, so it works with the native APIs for it, which is fantastic. It works with LastPass. That, you know, that's a big deal for me, especially since we set up phones so often. Processor-wise, it's a 617. So in a vacuum, it's fine. It runs fine. That was like the right place to like make a decision about what processor to be running.
And that is the latest Snapdragon.
It's the newest one. Oh, the next one coming out is the 820. So that's literally the newest one that Qualcomm has out right now.
Okay.
So it is bleeding edge, that's for sure. The problem with the 617 is that it doesn't support 64-bit.
Which Marshmallow is all about.
It's a flagship feature, not to mention it's clocked at 1.5. It is octa-core, I believe.
Okay.
Which is good to know. It's a 617. It's not the flagship spec line. And we just talked about the name of this device. It's the One A9. It's their flagship line. Like you said earlier, there is an utter pantheon right now. So we can kind of like look the device in a vacuum. Good device.
Good build quality.
Yeah.
Decent enough processor. Was it slow? Did you run into any lag?
No. I didn't run into lag. I didn't run into stuttering. I didn't run into anything like that. It screams like it's a brand new device and it's running a modern processor. Yeah. I just worry about its future. So in terms of performance, it's great.
What about opening apps? Everything opens
I didn't
fast?
have a major issue with opening apps. I know that Todd mentioned in the written view, which has like a ton more detail, photos and all that stuff.
So you should check that out. Link will be down below.
Boom, up, down, everywhere. He had a little bit of issue with loading up games.
Yeah.
He said Vainglory, some of the bigger stuff like that.
He said it was so slow that he just gave up.
He gave up and was like, I don't need to play anymore, which I didn't experience on this, but is definitely a valid point. The camera isn't anything that I would look at and say, this, like, if you want a great camera, this is the phone to get. And that's really kind of the crux of the issue, the big major crux. There isn't really enough here in any one particular place to get me to say, like, cool, this could fit someone's size.
It's not the best camera you can take. If you want the best camera, buy this. If you want the best screen, buy this. If you want the best value, buy this.
If you want the best battery, you name it.
How was the battery, by the way?
The battery was okay. Like, across the board. Like, it's just, I just feel, I'm not underwhelmed, I'm not overwhelmed, just whelmed.
Just the right amount of whelmed?
Just whelmed, you know? It's a phone.
Stepping out of that vacuum, it's tough to find, like you said, who this device is meant for. At $500, the same price as 6P, you could buy two OnePlus X's.
Two.
For that same price.
Yeah. In the pantheon, I can't in good conscience say it's a buy. I gotta say that it's a don't buy because there's enough stuff on the market right now that it just doesn't do enough to differentiate itself compared to those to make me tell anyone, go grab this. In fact, you know what? The only person who I think would want this one in particular is like an HTC diehard. If you are in love with HTC and you love their build quality, or maybe you're looking for a particular kind of build quality in your hand running a different OS, then the A9 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you know, when they first announced the phone there, it said updates every 15 days. I thought, awesome. But if you're buying the phone to get the latest version of Android,
right,
you would look at a Nexus device, presumably, at least.
Yeah.
And then especially at least for the 6P at the same price point.
Right.
And then maybe even lower if you go to the 5X.
There's nothing that Sense is doing to make me sacrifice going to a Nexus.
Yeah.
And pay attention to this. So I think overall, unfortunately, I think it's a don't buy. That's what we thought about, or at least that's what I thought about the A9. Hopefully you've learned something in the process as well.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think. I'd really be curious what you guys think about who this device is for. For example, if you are buying a One A9, please let us know in the comments and tell us why you decided to make that purchase.
Yeah, and if we get a compelling reason or we can find out maybe who this is for and we missed it, we'll update it.
Absolutely. I would love to update it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, be kind to one another, and we'll catch you in the next video.
All right, before we let you guys go, it is time for your domain inspiration. We got a doozy this week, that's right. You guys, I know some of you must be fishermen. You can head over to domain.com and register for yourself. Fish for cheap. That's right, fish4.cheap, the #1 place to get your seafood at a reasonable price. You can head over to domain.com and use the code TechnoBuffalo to get yourself that domain for 20% off. Plus, you can get 20% off of anything else you've got in your cart at the moment. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, when you're thinking about domains, think domain.com.